and welcome to the August Leo Virgo Happy Edition of Planetary Calendar with my co-host Carole Cherry, our publisher, and of course my co-author is Ralph DeAmicis. He's behind the camera, and I'm Lahni DeAmicis, and we're just so excited for this August edition because August starts out in Leo. It's fun.
It is. August has almost no holidays in it, and it still is our funnest month. Isn't that fun?
Exactly. Well, I'm glad that you finally, after all these years, included Left-Handers Day.
They wore me down. It's
well,
been years.
You were including all these other holidays to leave
right.
Left-Handers Day, which is not only the Left-Handers Day, but it is the day that Ralph and I met.
Mm-hmm. And my mother here is left-handed. So Left-Handers Day has also always been something, and we finally got it in there. Hey, if I could include L. Ron Hubbard's birthday and Towel Day, I kind of have to
Towel
include
Day is the one
Left-Handed
that got
Day.
me.
Yeah,
I said, if you got Towel Day, you need Left-Handers Day.
And May the 4th, that's right.
So for all you left-handers out there, it's August the 13th of every year is Left-Handers Day. Mm-hmm. You should even drop us an email and let us know that you're a left-hander and you saw this show.
That would more ensure that it gets on the calendar. I can tell you.
That's right. I've had to lobby for Towel Day.
Years.
Come on, you put Towel Day, you have to put Left-Handers Day.
Oh, and so we have. Luckily.
And of course, my birthday's on the 13th in November. Mm-hmm. So, it gives a nod to that.
For those of us who know her, there you go. We also have the Perseid meteor showers coming up this August 11th and 12th, and they are the most spectacular meteor showers of the year. So if you get a chance to check them out, please do.
You might want to check around if there are any sort of skywalks around that time, because I know that Ralph and I met the day after the Perseids, which was that Left-Handers Day, and we had done the night before. You and I had gone to do a skywalk with Derek Pitts, who was the astrologer for the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. And it was just really a lot of fun. You go on a skywalk, you go to a place that's kind of dark, that doesn't have a lot of ambient light from it, so that you can watch the sky and you can look for these meteors. So I don't know what time of the evening they'll be visible or where we are in the visible, but we'll put it up on our Facebook page so that you can check in with that. And that's always a fun way to really experience the galaxy in a very personal way. Definitely download Google Sky Map or, one of those Sky Map apps so that you can see where not only the stars or the meteors are, but where you can see where the planets are at any given time. They're really fun.
Really lovely. Really lovely. So this the August starts off a little bit rocky as we have a lot of energy changes. On the 1st, we have Saturn turning direct. We've got 2 lovely circle days on the 2nd and the 4th. We have Mercury changing signs on the 7th as he moves into Virgo. Mars changing signs on the 8th as he moves into Leo. And then Jupiter moving into Virgo on the 11th. They say when Jupiter moves into your sun sign, that can be a wonderful year for you. So our Virgo friends from now until the next 11 or 12 months will have an opportunity to expand as benevolent Jupiter shines his lovely light on all of you folks. And those with a Virgo moon, I'm sorry, but they will also have a chance for emotional expansion as well as Jupiter's. I apologize because Virgo moon is a difficult moon, but if you have it, you're going to have some luck with that this year.
There's some great benefits to that Virgo moon as well. It's always kind of a push me pull you kind of a thing. But I just wanted to mention that Jupiter is the classical ruler of Pisces as well. So it also bodes well for Pisces because it has that synergy when it's in a sign that it relates to. And of course, anybody who is in a Mercury ruled sign will benefit from having Jupiter in that Mercury ruled sign. So that includes the Geminis as well. So it's kind of an optimistic opening up. So that looks like a good time for, and Jupiter of course stays in a sign for a year. So generally we got sort of short shrifted, my Ralph and I, because we only got 6 months of Jupiter, which was kind of unusual and kind of mean, I thought, especially since we're such astral advocates. I mean, we sing, we have dedicated songs to the planets that we should get only 6 months of Jupiter. I'm sorry, that was not fair. But I digress. Mars in Leo is going to be a great kind of opening up of ideas and activity in a more fun and creative way. I mean, we often think of Leo as being a time for fun and playing, but it's also a very creative, artistic, and entertaining, you know, kind of sign. It's very heartfelt and opens your heart. You think of any kind of thing that would open your heart or make your heart swell. They're all Leonine things. So with Mars there, you'll get some opportunities to kind of enact that in the real world, physical world.
I see bravery in action, bravery and heartfelt action, and with that Mars and Leo combination we see starting on the 8th of August.
Good words, good words. And that Mercury, I just want to go back to, before we move off of the 7th, I want to talk about that Virgo, Mercury in Virgo. Of course, that's a rulership too. So
it is.
We're seeing signs very, you know, the personal planets again, very strong. This is, and very emphasized in the charts right now, something that we had talked about in July. Of course, this day of this change, when he's entering the sign, we call that a day of turbulence, because until he kind of settles in, even if he's in rulership, you know, it could shake things up a little bit. And that's not the primary reason that there's a black box on that day. The moon isn't really getting along with people very well, you know, with you know, it's at odds with Mercury and Venus and Jupiter and Saturn, at least until the moon sign changes. So, you know, it could be a tricky day to start something new, especially since right after Mercury enters Virgo, then Mars makes its change in Jupiter afterwards. So that's a day to take off.
Well, and I think it's going to be a marked change. If you're not thinking about back to school time or year-end sales numbers, and before the 7th, after the 7th, you certainly will be. Mercury in Virgo wants to take care of stuff. It wants to get the details handled, you know, so it's going to be getting as much back to school as it can before the teachers release their, you know, their final lists of what is needed and stuff. But we're going to be trying to get the clothes in order and make sure that we have our plans ready. People who are looking at, you know, holiday products, holiday promotions, you know, people are going to want to get their postcards in the mail, or at least set up the time frames for their sales to be able to make the most of our year-end sales and business opportunities. So I think that that's really kind of where you're going to see the mark, you know, right there around on the 7th. And then again on the 11th, where Jupiter is moving into Virgo also to support that, get back to details, take care of everything, how's your health kind of stuff.
Another thing that you don't think about, you know, those people who filed for tax extensions, tax filing extensions, the corporate ones are due on September 15th. The personal ones are due on October 15th. So, you know, you've kind of filed that extension. You said, let's, you know, take the summer off and relax. And then you're like, uh-oh, you know, in another month or two, I'm going to have all those ducks in a row. I thought I was breathing easily, with more and more people taking advantage of the fact that there are less audits on the tax returns that are filed after extensions than there are on the ones that are filed on time. That might be a good kick in the pants to try to get back to organization and be ready for that.
Well, and if our schools are, you know, true to form, likely kids are going back on about the 19th, you know, which is wonderful. Gives the children a little bit of Sun and Leo time to go back, see their friends, play, be happy to get to socialize with their friends. And then once the Sun moves into Virgo on the 23rd, then it's sort of back to learning and back to getting with the program, you know. So we were just talking about this. I remember, of course, when we went to school, none of us went back to school until after Labor Day, you know, the first Monday in September. And now it comes in so much earlier. But I really think that the energy supports that. I think that it's important to let them start with the fun, you know, kind of a thing, with the Leo energy, and then quickly get them back to the books and back to the program.
Quickly.
So,
I'm glad that it's only like 3 days. Okay. Yeah. Get back, see all the friends that you missed from over the summer, you know, meet your new teachers from a sort of heartfelt point of view that Leo contributes there.
Courage.
And then have a weekend to kind of process all of that, and then get back to school and down to work. So I think you're perfectly right on that.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think it makes it a lot easier for the children, and certainly it's nice for the parents, you know, especially if you are you know, in a business that's got holiday sales benefits or sales opportunities and stuff, to be able to have all of September, you know, to be able to get your ducks in a row and things in order.
And on the 24th, you'll see on the calendar, it says that Neptune is at closest approach. So although Neptune is not visible without the use of a telescope, although you've got those fun apps and things like that you can kind of bring that into your life, you may find that you have a little touch of added inspiration or idealism or some of the other attributes of Neptune, because it is physically closer than it will be for the rest of the year. So you've got you know, an opportunity to tap into that visionary kind of energy.
Neptune is also the planet of dreams, you know, so people will find their sleep, I don't want to say disturbed, because it could be enhanced, you know, but it could be, you know,
a change,
some kind of a change, right? Where perhaps you're sleeping more deeply, you're extremely tired, perhaps you're remembering your dreams a lot more, perhaps your dreams feel very realistic, you know, I mean, there could be any number of sleep issues, you know, around the time when Neptune is closest.
With it at closest approach, maybe you want to keep a little piece of paper on your night table and use that as an opportunity to start a little sleep journal, dream journal, you know, and see if something isn't very significant for you at that time.
Yeah, better yet, you could start on the 15th and take advantage of that lovely circle day and start looking at your hands. Just every day, whenever you think of it, just look into your hands, and in a week, you're going to start doing it in your sleep. And when you look down, you'll see your feet are not really drawn in, and that's your opportunity to start with lucid dreaming. And whenever there's a strong Neptune transit, the opportunity to have, to be aware that you're dreaming while it's happening is there. And that's a lot of fun, to be able to understand, hey, look, I can just fly off like Superman in my dream, or talk to the people in my dream and find out more about it. And that's the whole point. It's the self-discovery and self-understanding and things, and you know, that we don't think about in our day-to-day life. That
well, and exploration of dreams are not just of the literal dreams that you have at night when you're sleeping. They can help you to sort of process and find a way and give yourself permission to have your own dreams that you aspire to. You know, those daydreams come to reality. They may not even be dreams at night. I mean, who says that Neptune can only influence you when you're sleeping? But you mentioned the circle days, and I think we should sort of give a little reminder about what the circle day is about. We have so many of them in August, which is a great time to have them, this optimistic time of year. And then you've got these white circles that kind of denote a good day to start a new thing. Now, a lot of times we talk about that as being, you know, start a new business project or a new business venture, but it can be more personalized than that. It could be a new diet. It could be a new way of living. It could be a hobby. It could be a new way of interacting with your children or your spouse. I mean, it could be stop smoking. It could be something positive that you want to, you know, begin with as much help as possible. And that's what the white circle day denotes. Some have more help or less help, but what more importantly, they don't have a hindrance. They don't have an encumbrance. And so you can just really focus on whatever your goal is and know that you have some support from the energies around.
Now, some circle days are a little luckier than others. When you look at August 4th, we have Venus conjunct Jupiter. That's luck and love, and luck and money, expansion through, comfort and love and sweetness. And that's my favorite day to go to the casino. I mean, really, I think that's a very, very lucky day. But for ages, the luckiest day of the year has been considered the day that the Sun and Jupiter are conjunct. And that is also happening for us on August 26th. And while that's got the moon in Capricorn, and making it maybe more of a work day, and Saturn well aspected along with Mercury there. If you've got your moon in Capricorn, then it's not always work. It could be something about emotions and heart and fun and love also, so.
Well, so do use those other components of that white circle day to choose whether or not that will be a day to start a business project or a personal
friendship or
project or something like that. The 15th has the Sun conjunct Venus. So again, along with your casino theme, that might be a good day for that as well. Although Mercury is parallel Uranus, so anything could happen. So that could be a big, big win.
And Mercury's trine Pluto, so it's a good time to talk about your deepest desires and changes that you might like to make in your life with your partner.
Hit it
transformation.
Big.
Could be a great time for a class, to go and learn something that rocks your world and changes your life, so. There's all kinds of wonderful things that can
totally
happen.
Outside of the box.
Yeah.
And then remember that the planets above and below the number, if your ruling planet on a white circle day is Venus on the 4th, then you're doubly supported, not just by the sun and all the planets, but also by the moon and the emotional support that lends to it. So, you can really use a lot of this information. I mean, some of it looks a little complicated, but you can use it to the smallest degree, and you can use it to a more in-depth degree if you just read some of the instructional pages on the calendar to help guide you there, or shoot us a question.
Right. Now, we also have to remember that Venus is retrograde for most of the month. Venus is retrograde in the sign of Leo. So people may be a little bit inward, maybe a little bit turned inward, maybe unwilling to get out of their comfort zone in some areas, or unless they see something in it for them, perhaps, as they want to kind of personally satisfy their own internal needs and desires. So if your friend doesn't want to go with you, there might be another friend that would like to go with you. We need to let our friends kind of honor their own personal internal needs as well.
It's a little self-indulgence. So a lot of these white circle days may well be for personal things rather than for business things in the time of Leo. The business is addressed in different ways. I think that Mercury changing into Virgo addresses some of the business concerns, maybe not starting that new thing, but, and some days are more likely to do that than others. The 26th and the 15th with the Mercury, while aspected by the moon, may be more business things. But just from the Venus point of view, it may be a little bit more self-directed and a little self-indulgent.
Well, and August is still meant to be summer, there's a lot of that summer feeling, that summer energy. A lot of our back to work energy is going to come for us in September, once Mars gets into Virgo and our actions are more in line with, getting things done, checking our to-do list, health and things like that also. So.
Well, definitely when the sun moves into Virgo in the 23rd, that whole last week is going to kind of prepare you for that. Then you can ramp up in September.
Exactly.
Yeah, for
we
business.
have one last circle day on the 26th, as we said, when the sun is conjunct with Jupiter. And then the next day, we have Mercury entering Libra. Mercury in Libra can be a little frustrating, as everybody wants to say. It's like ruling by committee, in many ways. And, coming out of the ruling sign of Virgo, it could be quite an adjustment on the 27th. And then there's that full moon, which has people's energy and emotions sort of amped up. So I would try to take some extra deep breaths as the month ends,
Well, if you don't do that starting that new project on the 26th, then wait until Mercury has a firm foothold in in Libra, certainly not the day that it's changing the sign to make any kind of things like that, because Mercury in Libra works like this. Libra is the scales, the balance scales, and so Mercury says, oh, we should do this, or maybe we should do this, or what do you want to do? So by the time it gets done weighing all the options, the other people have moved on already. So,
and during that time, the most important the most common conversation, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner? Fortunately, though, the month ends on the 31st with a Mars and Venus conjunction. And that will be in Leo, so that could be brave, heartfelt, and adventurous, exciting, fun.
I like ending the month that way because the masculine and feminine are on the same page. They have the same goal. They're not going off in different directions. So this is a good starting point or set point for a relationship or a partnership, or even just to find balance within yourself, because we all have our masculine and feminine side. So that Mars-Venus conjunction means that you can really find your center.
Yeah, and with the moon in Aries, it's going to be both Venus and Mars finding their own center and then coming together and working together from that perspective. So Venus and Mars conjunct can be romance, can be lovely with everyone on the same page, or it can be everybody ready to fight about the same thing too. I mean, it can be a little bit of tension in what comfort we need and things like that. So it can go both ways.
Well, you're making a good point, because the other aspect that's highlighted on that day is that Sun opposite Neptune. So Neptune is ideas and idealism, and the Sun is reality.
Yeah, daydreams versus the reality. Yeah,
they've got that opposition going on. But I like to remind people that while the square is an aspect that can cause disruption, the opposition is just like it sounds. But if you share your information, you can end up with the same point of view, because you're looking at this side of the issue, I'm looking at this side of the issue. So cooperation is the way to weather an opposition, because if you can cooperate, we can both have the full picture and then find our center with that Mars-Venus. So,
well, unfortunately, though, on the 31st, Mercury is not well aspected. So being able to communicate, what you're seeing on both sides of the fence might be a little difficult. And Pluto's under the number also, which is about, our deepest desires and innermost needs, and so there's a chance that there could be a blow up happening on the 31st.
Well, so then instead of mouth to ear, since Venus and Mars are both in Leo, let's have a heart to heart.
There you go. Or go out with your friends. Do your venting and ranting with them, and then come home with a new perspective that you can try to be lovey and kind in that way also. I mean, just because there's something to talk about doesn't mean it has to be a problem, and it doesn't mean that it has to be today. I mean, it might leak out, but you can also leave it for another day to have that conversation, in a day when there's a little more sympathy and compassion in the air, perhaps. You'll see.
Well, Ralph, my romantic partner in crime and perennial optimist, ends his forecast with the line, Mars and Venus are closely conjunct in romantic Leo and getting closer by the day, so there is warm companionship while you carry out your mission.
And that's what we wish for you, my friends. That's what we wish for you.
So make sure you visit us next month. That's it for our our August Leo into Virgo forecast. You can find us at planetarycalendar.com or www.spaceandtime.com. You can always hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, all manner of social media.
We'd love to hear from you.
We would.
So have a great month. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Ralph DeAmicis, one of the astrologers for the Planetary Calendar. July and August, wonderful months, but I thought I needed to give you a little heads up about September. I've actually been warning people about September for months now, and I'm going to read a little bit of the forecast and give you an idea why. After this wonderful July and August, September is complicated, okay? Not only does Venus turn direct on the 6th, but we have eclipses on the 12th and the 27th. Right in the middle of that, Mercury turns retrograde on the 17th, and on the same day, Saturn goes back into Sagittarius. So you see there's a lot of stuff going on. By the new moon eclipse on the 12th, Jupiter begins his opposition with Neptune, and these are both big money planets, and Saturn begins squaring both of them. So this is a pretty tough economic indicator, so make sure you have your finances in order well before this happens, because there's going to be a little shakeup going on. Eclipses don't just move mountains, they move souls too. And this pair have a specific lesson. It's all about relationships, it's about partnerships, it's about commitments and mission. The questions they're asking you are, how much are you willing to compromise? How much of your own goals and standards are you willing to sacrifice to attain a larger common goal? You know, it's very easy to keep to your standards, until the pressure of the heavens or finances or weather make us feel vulnerable. And then we have to think, how much are we willing to make a deal to get what we want and what we need? Now, it's not all bad, even though this month has 4 black box days, which, are toughies. We also have some circle days. We have 2. And the one on the 8th is not a lightweight by any standard. This is an exciting, energizing day, and it's capable of some significant accomplishments. On the 23rd is the first day of autumn, and that's also a white circle day. What's funny is that the next day is a black box day, and the reason is on the 24th, Pluto goes direct and Mars enters Virgo, so there's a lot of turbulence going on. That first eclipse, though, on the 12th is bigger than life. Okay, but by the second eclipse, on the 27th, the whole arena has changed. Its influence is more intimate. By the 27th, Mars is now conjunct the royal star Regulus. And we've talked about Regulus before. It's the heart of the lion. These are the first degrees of Virgo. And it's also, Mars is moving towards Jupiter. So be open to help, be willing to lend a hand. And if you do that, you'll make the connections you need. But remember, in September, this is not a time to stand by yourself. You've got to think about how you're going to reach out to others to help them and to help yourself. So this was just a little heads up about September, but make sure you tune in next month for the entire forecast with Carole and Lahni of the Planetary calendar for September 2015.